A hate march on our nation's 250th birthday. Two fathers shot dead on their way to work, 7 days apart. A war we were told was over, reignited. And tonight at 9 o'clock, a primetime address from the President of the United States of America about whether you can trust your own voice. It has been one heavy week, one heavy stretch in America. And we're going to talk about it, all of it. But first, let me introduce myself. Hello, friends. My name is Jason, and this is a little different today. No song, no storyboard, no guardian angel, no Statue of Liberty, just me. And I figured some of you are looking at the screen right now going, wait, who is this guy? Fair question. Let me answer it. I'm the person behind the Midnight Republic. I've been a musician for about 45 years. I've spent about 30 of those years on a church organ bench playing hymns on a Sunday morning. And a little over a year ago, I got so frustrated, so heartbroken about what was happening in our country that I felt like I had two choices. One, lose my mind. Two, make some noise. I chose the noise. So I've been upfront about this from the very beginning, and I'll say it again to your face. I use AI for creating the music. It does the heavy lifting, but the lyric ideas, every idea about the song, every hour of shaping these songs into something that speaks to me this moment, that's me. My heart, my convictions, my faith. Nothing on this channel exists that I don't pour myself into. Some songs take very little time. A lot of songs take over a month to complete. So you've been listening to my heart for a while now. I figured it was time you saw my face. And that brings me to the first reason that I turned the camera on tonight. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you to all our friends in this country, not just this country, but from around the world. I was really humbled at all the support and comments that we've received from, again, literally around the world. Canada, Germany, Holland, Australia, Great Britain, just so many that the support that you all have given to America, this country, and your hope that we don't lose our freedoms is just overwhelming, and I appreciate it so much. And I know all the folks on the channel, I see the comments, they appreciate it as well. So thank you to just everyone. So there are more than 11,000 of you now. 11,000 people who have found a channel with no record label, no budget, no famous name attached. Just songs about this moment in history. And you decided to stay. But honestly, it's not the number that gets me, it's the comments. Again, you've shared your anger, your grief, your hope. You've encouraged each other, total strangers, leaning on each other in that comment section like neighbors over a fence, really. I've said it before, and I mean it. We cannot hold these emotions inside. We have to let them out, and we have to carry them together. And that's exactly what you've been doing. And last week when Rise Up went out on the 4th of July, on the 250th birthday of this country, you guys showed up for it, and I really appreciate that. So once again, thank you very much for being here, friends. But I can't just say thank you and sign off tonight. You heard me at the top. It's been one heavy stretch in America. So much has happened in less than 2 weeks, and if I run a channel like this one, a channel built on speaking up, and I stayed quiet about it, I'd be a fraud. So bear with me. Let's talk about it. So let's start with the 4th of July. All families were on the National Mall celebrating 250 years of this country. A few hundred men marched through Washington, D.C. toward the Capitol. Their faces were covered. They carried shields and drums. They carried American flags, some of them upside down. They carried Confederate flags, and they chanted, "Reclaim America." So the group is called Patriot Front. The Southern Poverty Law Center and the Anti-Defamation League call them what they are, a white supremacist hate group. They grew out of the same movement that marched in Charlottesville in 2017, the rally where a young woman named Heather Heyer lost her life. And they picked that day, the 250th birthday of the Declaration of Independence, to do this. They marched past the promise that all men are created equal, with their faces hidden. Cowards, there's no other word for it. And notice something. They cover their faces. I'm showing you mine because I'm not afraid of a single thing I believe in. And I don't need a mask to say it. They chant it, "Reclaim America," as if this country belongs to one kind of people. It doesn't. It never did. The whole point of America, the thing worth celebrating for 250 years, is that it belongs to all of us. You know, there's a line in Rise Up. Some of you already caught it. They wrap their cruelty in the flag. That lyric was written weeks ago. And on the 4th of July, I watched it happen, literally. Cruelty wrapped in the flag, marching next to the flag of the Confederacy, a flag that was raised against the United States of America. Folks, this is not patriotism. It's a costume. I'm going to put a picture up now, the picture of that girl that day, surrounded by the cowards in their masks, in their costumes. Just look at her eyes. Look at the fear in her eyes. The picture was taken by Cheney Orr. I don't think anybody's ever going to forget that picture. That picture is going to be part of history. Frozen in time. So then 3 days later, Tuesday morning, Houston, Texas, a 52-year-old man named Lorenzo Salgado, Araujo, got in his van before 7 in the morning, the way he did every workday. He was a builder. He was driving his crew to finish construction on some house in North Houston. A husband, a father. His family called him El Mundo Entero, which means the whole world. He never made it to the job site. ICE agents in unmarked vehicles tried to stop his van as part of an enforcement operation. And by the end of it, an ICE agent has shot him. Lorenzo died at the hospital. The medical examiner ruled it a homicide. Now, the government says he rammed their vehicle and tried to run over an agent. His family and the men who were in the van with him dispute that account. His son says his father had no criminal record, and the Harris County District Attorney's Office confirmed he doesn't appear to have one. His son says if his father had seen a badge, an emblem, lights on the vehicle, warning lights, anything saying law enforcement, he would have stopped. He drove fast because he was afraid someone was going to rob him of his tools. I'm going to put up a video. I try to verify that the person on the ground was Lorenzo. 95% sure that it was him. It is him. I just got to warn you, it is disturbing. The agents are on top of him. He's dying at that point. You can see involuntary movement from his foot.
Back into the vehicle, the side panels, there's a black skid mark from the black SUV that they used to pin that car to the sidewalk. And I think most egregious of all those things was the fact that once he was on the ground prone, we've seen the videos, we've seen his cries for help. He knew that he was dying. They waited almost 20 to 30 minutes to get him an ambulance to take him to the hospital. And in that time, they took all of his personal identifiable information off of his person. So when he was admitted into the hospital, they admitted him as a John Doe. Now, the family was there. Ronaldo was there. He was on site. I've seen the text messages with the FBI and the ICE agent between the two men. And they really just strung him along for hours until finally sending him to the hospital.
Pleading for his life. Ambulance doesn't reach him for over 20 minutes. They're treating people like animals. I mean, animals don't even deserve to be treated like that, but it's sick. And here's the detail that stops me cold. According to what a congresswoman says, ICE's own acting director told her Lorenzo wasn't even the target of the operation. Neither was his brother sitting beside him. A man on his way to work, building houses, building the American dream with his own two hands, and now his wife is a widow and his children have no father. And his family is begging for an independent investigation and for his body to be returned to them. I'm not a judge. I'm not a jury. There are investigations underway, but I want them to be thorough and transparent. The whole country should want that. But I'm a Christian, and I know this much. Every single human being, documented or not, born here or not, is made in the image of God. That's my belief. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo was not a headline. He was not a statistic. He was somebody's whole world. And a country that has stopped grieving deaths like this has lost something it desperately needs to find again. I'll be honest with you, I started writing this message about Lorenzo, and before I could even sit down in front of this camera, it happened again. Monday morning, Biddeford, Maine. A 25-year-old Colombian man named Johan Sebastián Durán Guerrero. He worked as a cleaner and a delivery driver. He was authorized to work in this country. He had a social security number. He had a partner, a 3-year-old little girl he used to bring to the laundromat where he'd give her quarters for the candy machine. ICE agents were watching a house that morning, looking for another man. Johan left in a vehicle. They tried to stop him, and an officer shot him dead in the street. The government says the vehicle moved toward the officer. And once again, and this comes from the Secretary of Homeland Security himself, in a briefing to Senator Angus King, Johan was not the man they were looking for. The agents weren't wearing body cameras, despite the funding being there for them. So there's no video. His little girl, still in her pajamas, saw the aftermath with her own eyes. 2 fathers, 7 days apart, 2,000 miles apart, both on their way to work. Neither one the target. We've sung these names before. We've cried for these names. Renee Good, Alex Pretty. Now we add to the list Lorenzo. We add Johan. I keep hoping that the list is finished. But it's not. It just keeps growing. Let me tell you something else, though, that happened this week. Because this part matters just as much. People spoke up. Hundreds of neighbors had vigils in Biddeford. Protesters filled the streets in Houston and outside Houston City Hall. Senators from both parties, including Republican Susan Collins, demanded answers and body cameras. And you know what? ICE is now ordered to pause most vehicle stops while they retrain their officers. ICE officers aren't trained in a lot of the tactics of law enforcement, including vehicle stops. They don't know what they're doing. And that's when people get killed. Is that enough? Not even close. But hear what it means. When ordinary people raise their voices, things move. Don't you ever let people tell you that it doesn't matter. It does. Hold that thought, because I'm coming back to it. And then there's the war. The war with Iran started up again. Less than a month ago, we were told there was a deal. A memorandum of understanding, signed with all the pomp and ceremony you can imagine at the Palace of Versailles, of all places. Peace was at hand, we were told. It lasted about 3 weeks, not even. Last week, after attacks on tanker ships in the Strait of Hormuz, the United States launched strikes on more than 80 targets inside Iran. And then more strikes the night after that. Iran hit back at American bases in Kuwait and Bahrain. The sanctions are back. The threats are flying in both directions. And the ceasefire everybody celebrated in June is, in the president's own words, over. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I can untangle the geopolitics of the Middle East. in a YouTube video. I can't. But I can tell you what I see as a citizen. We have American servicemen and women, somebody's son, somebody's daughter, somebody's whole world sitting on bases in the Gulf right now in the crosshairs of a war that we were told just weeks ago was finished. The war has already cost this country over $100 billion, and every time the shooting starts again, we're one mistake, one miscalculation, one bad night away from something far worse. Blessed are the peacemakers, not the deal announcers, not the podium pounders, the peacemakers. And right now, I don't see many of them on any side. So I'm going to do the only thing I know how to do. Pray for peace, pray for our troops, pray for the innocent people of Iran who didn't choose any of this. And that brings me to tonight, because this heavy stretch isn't over yet. Tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern, the President of the United States is going to address the nation in primetime. The White House says it's about election integrity and voting machines, and all week long the President has been previewing it by repeating claims about the 2020 election. Now let me be clear about the record before a single word of that speech is spoken, because the record was written long ago. No speech can unwrite it. Those claims about 2020 went in front of more than 60 courts. They lost. There were counts, recounts, and audits, many of them run by Republicans. They all confirmed the same result. The president's own attorney general at the time said there was no fraud that would change the outcome. That is not my opinion. That is the documented record. Now, I haven't heard the speech, obviously. Neither have you. So I'm not going to put words in the man's mouth, but I'll tell you what I'm listening for tonight. And I hope you'll listen for it too with me. Evidence. Real, verifiable evidence. Not accusations. Not a lot of people are saying. Because here's the thing about this country. The burden of proof is on the accuser. That's not politics. That's America. And I want you to understand what's at stake. This speech comes just months before the midterm elections. Elections that decide who controls Congress. When you teach a nation to distrust its own ballot box without proof, you're not protecting democracy. You are softening it up. You know, I named this channel's biggest song, No Kings, for a reason. A president who answers to the voters is a president. A president who tells you the voters can't be trusted, who claims the only real elections are the ones that he wins. That man is auditioning to be a king. And we settled that question 250 years ago. So what do? I told you to hold on to that thought from earlier. That when ordinary people raise their voices, things move. And here it is again. We don't panic. We don't look away. We check our voter registration tonight. It takes 2 minutes. We vote in November. Every race, every line on that ballot. If you're able, you sign up to be a poll worker, because our elections are run by ordinary neighbors, Republicans and Democrats, side by side. And there is no better cure for distrust than seeing it with your own eyes. And we defend the truth peacefully, patiently, and relentlessly. And here's my promise to you. I'm going to watch that speech tonight, every minute of it. And late tonight, once I've taken it all in, I will be right back here on this channel to walk through exactly what was said, what checks out, and what doesn't. So stay close, my friends, because this conversation is just getting started. So that's where we are. A hate march on our nation's birthday, 2 fathers killed on their way to work, a war reignited, and tonight an address that may test how much we trust each other. I'll be honest with you, there are days it feels like too much. Maybe you've had that feeling this week too. Like the darkness is winning. But here's what I want to leave with you. That march is not the story of America. Those 2 fathers' stories don't end on those streets. Even this war is not the end of the story. And no speech tonight gets to write the ending either. You know what I see when I look at this channel? I see you. Over 11,000 people from all over America and all over the world. Different backgrounds, different walks of life, all showing up in the same place because you believe this country can still be that shining city on a hill. a beacon of freedom, opportunity, and hope, teeming with people of all kinds, living in harmony and peace. That's the America worth fighting for. That's the America worth rising up for, not with masks and shields, with open faces, open hearts, and the truth. So thank you for the support, for the honesty, for the solidarity. There's more music coming, I promise you that. And you won't have to wait long to see this face again. I'll be right back here late tonight after the president's address, and we'll sort through it all together. Until then, take care of each other, lean on each other, grieve what needs grieving, and then get back up. We will overcome. God bless you all, and God bless America.